Happy Halloween and welcome to the Badger Report. I'm Laura Bunn.
And I'm Lexi Schweider. Madison has had an eventful week and the Badger Report has everything you need to know. First up, the homecoming video that started conversations about diversity on campus has turned into a bigger movement. We'll look at all that's happened since the video's release.
Madison is no stranger to the rain, and that's caused lake levels to rise with a number of effects. Coming up, we'll evaluate them.
Later, protests about the current state of Chile have reached the Madison community. The Badger Report looks into how this international issue is presented locally. All this and more coming up next.
From Vilas Hall on the UW-Madison campus, this is the Badger Report.
In early October, a homecoming video that featured no students of color was released. Since then, UW officials have apologized, and response videos by students of color have spread.
The original video sparked students of color to protest for their voices to be heard. The Badger Report's Chris Zhang talked to student leaders on what they hope to accomplish.
It is a call for revolution, banning on Bascom Hill and across the UW campus. These students are pushing for more inclusion after being excluded from the UW homecoming video.
Lack of action, I guess, that it's taken in regards to students of color, its marginalized communities, has been disrespectful. It's been abusive. It's been laissez-faire. Like it's always a back seat.
Can y'all hear me? Yeah.
Members of Student Involvement Coalition wearing all black, demanding improvements for student equity. On the top of their list is public recognition for marginalized students.
On one of our demands, we just said we want the same homecoming budget as like the actual homecoming.
The group is hoping to see the demands to be met within the school year, actual movements to be implemented by next year.
We want change because we're tired of the emails apologizing. We're tired of people talking. We want to see action.
University officials acknowledged the requests and planned to review them, saying, "We are paying attention and we hear the demands and requests. Moving forward, we will continue to partner and collaborate with SIG and students, faculty and staff across campus to make UW a better community for all." Student leaders say they are meeting with officials later this week to map out the next step. For the Badger Report, I am Chris Zhang.
Thanks, Chris. UW officials are looking for a new system president. Ray Cross announced his retirement last Friday after working in the education field for over 40 years. He stated that he will remain in his position until the Board of Regents is able to find a replacement.
The Madison Common Council passed a $40 vehicle registration fee for Madison residents on Tuesday. This will take effect on February 1st of 2020, and it will be the highest in Wisconsin. Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway says the fee looks to help close the 2020 budget gap, even if it is not necessarily her first choice to help do this. Money from the fee will go towards improving the Metro Transit service and its bus rapid transit. Over 200 students gathered in Madison to discuss social justice, equity, and change in their schools.
The Badger Report's Alyssa Hui has more details on the conference and spoke to students on what they hope to see moving forward.
Students and advisors from 12 different states gathered in Madison Wednesday through Saturday, talking about how they can make their schools better for underrepresented groups in the classroom. For students like Ava Bird, she hopes to see diversity, equity, and inclusion education training for teachers and counselors in her school district.
From past experiences, teachers say something, they might not have any idea that could really be kind of hurtful to a student of color or like insensitive.
Bird says training is also about understanding a person's culture and finding ways to incorporate that into regular school curriculum. Students had the chance to create action plans.
What we're trying to do right now is try to get ethnic studies in our school.
In order to implement action plans back in schools, Ramirez adds it's important to support each other and work together despite any differences.
But in order to do that, you would have to be united with everybody in your school, not only in your school, but also in your community, because without that, you're not going to have anything.
One of the organizers of the event, Antonio Hoy, says he's proud to see everyone come together and share their ideas of change in a safe space.
I want them to walk away with being really hopeful and making sure that whatever they come up with, whatever they deem important to them, that they can go back to their district and actually have the support to carry it out.
For many like Bird, Ramirez, and Hoy, the conversation about inequality and injustice go beyond this conference. They say it's about starting the conversation early, trusting one another, and coming together as a community despite race or ethnicity. For the Badger Report, I'm Alyssa Hui.
Thanks, Alyssa. A 63-year-old man died Sunday night after being shot by a Madison police officer. MPD Acting Police Chief Victor Wall says initial investigations show the unnamed victim shot at officers in the encounter. The Dane County Sheriff's Investigative Unit will conduct an investigation into the details of the incident.
Last Friday, Google opened their new office in Madison. The company has grown to 100 employees centered in Madison, leading to the opening of this new space. Google credits their growth in Wisconsin's capital to their connections with the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Lake levels have been high in Madison, especially since the floods in August of 2018.
Flooding continues to affect areas around the city. I went to Picnic Point to find out how flooding is affecting your favorite spot.
I'm sad because it's real.
Mary Pat Bouse and her husband frequent Picnic Point. On a sunny October day, flooding on the trails caused them to take a detour.
We'll walk along the shoreline a little bit, hopefully to get all out to Picnic Point.
Thousands of visitors at Picnic Point face trail closures this month due to flooding. As arborist Laura Wyatt explains, it's a systemic problem.
And when we don't have enough open areas to capture water and hold it until it infiltrates into the ground, we get all this runoff.
Lake levels are high here in Madison, with almost a foot more of rainfall than usual. Experts believe flooding will continue in the future.
We feel confident that these changes in precipitation patterns are part of a larger phenomenon of regional change that is associated with a pretty enduring climate shift.
The effects of that shift may be drastic.
Very well be that, in a few years it'll become an island.
Until that point, Wyatt says there are ways everyone can help.
People can put in rain gardens on their property to help capture the rain, hold it so it soaks into the ground so it doesn't run off into a pipe into the lake.
But for Bouse, she'll continue to cherish whatever pathways are open.
Sort of takes my breath away.
Currently, waters are receding and trails are opening back up.
I can't believe you went out in the lake like that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I learned a lot out there. It was a really interesting experience.
Awesome. Well, coming up next on the Badger Report, over 5,000 students struggle with food insecurity. After the break, find out the ways the campus and city are working to solve that problem.
Progress is an endless challenge. Here at the University of Wisconsin, we're a community of innovators in constant motion. We think on our feet, connect with each other, and hit our stride, pushing past limits. Progress is an endless challenge, but it is only those up to the challenge who change the game.
This right here is the closet we were in. That was the only thing left of the house. The only thing. Red Cross helped us, and they literally got us back on our feet. Huge outpouring of love, just going, people care.
We didn't come out of there saying, wow, we lost everything. We came out of there hugging each other, glad that we were okay.
More than a century ago, we made a commitment to our state. We promised to educate the sons and daughters of Wisconsin. More than 1 million students have passed through our doors. Our alumni have gone on to cure diseases, grow crops, build skyscrapers, found companies, score touchdowns, orbit the moon, and achieve beyond our wildest dreams, but not beyond theirs. On Wisconsin.
Violent clashes continue in Chile as protesters fight for their dignity and rights.
The movement has grown with more than 1 million people on the streets. Members of the Madison community joined Chileans in solidarity. The Badger Report's Will Keneally has more.
The sound of protest carries across continents.
That's a way to make noise and kind of manifest in a pacific way, that you are actually showing that you don't have the intention to become violent, but really to be heard.
The pots and pans are familiar sound in Chilean demonstration.
Protesters gathered in Madison using a traditional form of protest called cacerolazo to show solidarity with Chileans.
According to Alexandra Huneas, inequality is prevalent in Chile.
There is no social net for people. There's very few public services that support people. So health insurance, pension funds are all very contested right now.
Pepe Barros Hofens says this weighs heavily on Chileans.
People in general in Chile, friends, family, people I haven't even met, they feel the pressure, and you can see it in their faces. People have lost their hope. They feel left behind.
While the future of their country is unclear, Chileans remain hopeful for the future.
My hopes are huge. My hopes are that not only Chile becomes a better place for everyone, but also other countries in Latin America.
The Chilean government has announced some reforms, but protesters remain in the street. For the Badger Report, I'm Will Keneally.
Thanks, Will. UW-Madison will pilot a new technology next spring to screen for weapons. The sensors use radar imaging to detect shapes of the weapons, and the sensors can be built into existing structures. UWPD says the technology improves on some of the inefficiencies of regular metal detectors.
People can walk through these with things in their pockets. It uses artificial intelligence to detect the weapons. So you can leave your keys and change in your pockets, your wallet, that type of stuff, instead of putting that on the table and creating a line. This is more of just a simple walkthrough. It's detecting specific weapons and that sort of thing. So it's a lot faster. So we can keep those lines moving.
The department will announce in the spring which days it plans to test the technology.
Governor Evers and city and state officials are working to increase participation in the 2020 census. On Monday, the governor signed an executive order to form a committee focused on including hard-to-count communities in the upcoming census. An accurate count is important for dividing up the state budget. UW-Madison's Hamill Music Center had its grand opening on Friday, October 25th. It will be the School of Music's main performance space. Tonight at 7:30 p.m. in the newly opened center, author Maxine Gordon is doing a book reading with performances by the UW Blue Note Ensemble. There will be over 300 events throughout the year, so Madisonians will have plenty of time to check it out. Food security, or lack of it, is a huge national issue, but it's also present right here on the Madison campus.
The Badger Report's Lucas Lateral has more on the problem and the ways it's working to be solved.
College students are often stressed, but how stressed would you be if you also had to worry about where your next meal was coming from? Yogev Ben-Yitzhak, external director of the Open Seat Food Pantry run by the Associated Students of Madison, says food insecurity among college students is a much larger problem than most people realize.
UHS, which is our health system, predicts about 1 in 5 students has been food insecure at a given time, which is about a little bit over 5,000 to 8,000 students.
Ben-Yitzhak says that the Open Seat has 300 to 400 students coming in on a weekly basis, and that food insecurity is growing at UW. Libby Schneft of Slow Food Madison shares that view.
I have become increasingly aware of how big of an issue food security is on this campus, and the fact that the university itself doesn't really talk about it, and the burden is really placed on organizations.
This is a sentiment echoed by Daniel Lassman, a UW graduate student who's been struggling with food insecurity since he came to campus in 2015. Lassman uses student-run food pantries, but says the university needs to do more to address the issue, saying, quote, "What you have right now is groups like the Open Seat and the food kitchens and all of these other things, this loose safety net where each group can only do so much. You need to have institutional support." To learn more about food assistance resources on campus, visit uhs.wisc.edu/food. For the Badger Report, I'm Lucas Latteral.
Thanks, Lucas. Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, begins tomorrow. The festival is about remembering and celebrating, and UW community members will be doing both of that at the Day of the Dead Fiesta tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. in Nancy Nicholas Hall. There will be altar boxes, music, food, and more.
This past weekend, the Alliant Energy Center was filled with wizards, superheroes, and comic book fans galore. The comic book industry has helped kids to get excited about reading. See how? Next on the Badger Report.
Also up next, you might need a heavier coat this weekend.
When we return, we'll help you plan your fall fun with weather updates.
A pulse, felt by one, sends a ripple, felt by some. A shiver, felt by many, until it amplifies, magnifies into a tremor that electrifies. Badgers everywhere, moving as one, tilting the world on its axis.
I thought Red Cross does Katrina. They don't help single moms.
Hi.
What happened to our house last year about your birthday?
It flooded and the water flooded out. Yeah.
The Red Cross arranged the hotel for us. They gave me that break, that leverage to be able to get it together and take care of them, you know? I feel like we've come full circle.
Like that. This is how I'll do it.
There you go.
In 1905, we made a promise. We promised that our work at Wisconsin would make life better for our state. Our research has developed crops, restored lakes, cured diseases, uncovered history, peered into space, and saved lives. More than a century later, we've not only kept our promise to Wisconsin, we've extended it to the world. On Wisconsin.
I thought I'd start the video by showing you the apartment building where the fire was. When things like this happen, I think you find a new perspective on life. Red Cross put us in a hotel, so we were able to stay together. We're strong, and if we overcame that, or if we can overcome that, we can overcome anything, so.
This past weekend, Madison hosted the Wizard World Comic-Con, complete with famous actors, elaborate costumes, and lots of comic book sellers.
The event isn't just for fun, though. The Comic-Con was put on with a mission. The Badger Report's Talil Muhidin has the story.
Everybody gets a grand prize. Everybody won a prize.
Wizard World Comic-Con is partnering with the Madison Reading Project to bring over 200 comic books and graphic novels to kids across Dane County. Attendees were encouraged to bring child-appropriate materials to the Alliant Energy Center, says event PR manager Jerry Milani.
We just feel like it's an opportunity for fans who might have extra books, who want to donate them, who want to give them a good home, to do that.
Founder of the Madison Reading Project, Rowan Childs, says graphic novels are so popular among school-age kids, they can barely keep them on the shelf.
We see much younger kids taking those books because they know that it's cool and they want to read it, or their siblings are reading it, so they're attempting to read at a higher level.
Marvel illustrator Kurt Lenner says he was never a big reader until he got into comic books.
I learned to read properly because of comics. When I was in elementary school, I struggled with reading. I kind of stuttered as I read out loud. I was nervous, not confident. Comic books actually helped me to become confident.
Incredible Hulk actor Lou Ferrigno says pop culture and social media have done a lot to legitimize graphic novels and literature.
Well,
and it's much more respected today. But when I was a kid, people said that to me, but today there's no more shame to it. It's great because, you know, you're learning a lot from the story.
For the Badger Report, I'm Vivian Cookie.
Thanks, Tiliel. UWPD looks to improve safety in the Langdon Street area by adding a new officer position there. This comes after the Madison Police Department decided to remove their Langdon Street officer liaison due to budget cuts. UWPD Chief Kristen Roman says the new position is not in relation to the MPD move, but has been something in the works for a while. The new position will focus on safety and resources for students. It's always hard to decide how many layers to wear for different types of fall activities.
It is, especially when it snows like today. To help with that, we're going to the Badger Report's own Caitlin Rowe with weather.
Thanks, Lexi and Laura. We're getting the first glimpses of winter this week as snowfall begins to hit the isthmus. Now, today's snow comes with a high of 40 degrees and a low of 28, but don't let that scare you out of the autumn spirit. We'll just get some clouds continuing through the week and over the weekend as we get into Friday with a high of 42 degrees and a low of 29 degrees, so still plenty of time to go out and enjoy the season. Saturday, we'll get a bit colder. It's going to be a high of 39 degrees and a low of 28 until we have some overcast that's going to last until Sunday. And the weekend is about to end with a high of 44 degrees and a low of 32, with rain that will start late on Sunday evening. So be sure to get your umbrellas and your jackets, Badgers. That's the weather for this weekend. Back to you.
Thanks, Caitlin. I was really surprised to see snow this morning. Weren't you?
I know,
Yeah.
it's so snowy. And speaking of ice, the women's hockey team has been dominating on the ice. Hear their story and more on local, regional, and national sports next on the Badger Report.
More than a century ago, we made a commitment to our state. We promised to educate the sons and daughters of Wisconsin. More than 1 million students have passed through our doors. Our alumni have gone on to cure diseases, grow crops, build skyscrapers, found companies, score touchdowns, orbit the moon, and achieve beyond our wildest dreams, but not beyond theirs. On Wisconsin.
I thought Red Cross does Katrina. They don't help single moms.
Hi.
What happened to our house last year about your birthday?
It flooded and the water flooded out. Yeah.
The Red Cross arranged the hotel for us. They gave me that break, that leverage to be able to get it together and take care of them, you know? I feel like we've come full circle.
Like that. This is how I'll do it.
There you go.
At the turn of the last century, we made a promise to our state. We promised that we would not rest until we made life better for Wisconsin. We looked in our own backyard and we planted different crops, bred new herds, identified vitamins, improved harvesting machinery, established food safety standards, and churned a lot of ice cream. We haven't stopped working to make life better for our state and the world. On Wisconsin.
I thought I'd start the video by showing you the apartment building where the fire was. When things like this happen, I think you find a new perspective on life. Red Cross put us in a hotel, so we were able to stay together. We're strong, and if we overcame that, or if we can overcome that, we can overcome anything. So.
We're in that time of the year when there's a major sports game nearly every single night.
With the latest updates and recaps, the Badger Report's Will Keneally is here on set with all things sports.
Thanks, guys. So in national headlines, the Washington Nationals defeated the Houston Astros 6-2 in Game 7 of the World Series last night, giving the ball club their first title in franchise history. Interestingly, this World Series marked the first time in major sports history where the away team won every game in a best-of-7 postseason series. Fortunately for baseball fans, the season is over until now, but next spring training will come soon. Badger fans still have plenty of sports to follow, however. Badger football suffered a 38-7 loss last Saturday when they faced off against Big Ten rival Ohio State in Columbus. The Buckeyes held running back Jonathan Taylor to just 2.6 yards per carry. He'd previously been averaging 6.4 yards. This loss to the Badgers is its second in a row. They've dropped from number 18 in the Associated Press Top 25 poll. Badgers will have 2 full weeks to prepare for their upcoming game against the Iowa Hawkeyes on November 9th. They'll hope to beat the Hawkeyes at home and kick their season back into gear. Badger fans looking for winning teams need look no further than the Badger women's soccer team. Women's soccer clinched outright the 2019 Big Ten Conference title last Sunday with a 3-1 lead over Northwestern. It's the first time the team has won the outright title since 1994. After last night's game against Ohio State, the Badgers finished the regular season with a 14-2-2 record. The team enters the Big Ten tournament as the #1 seed and will host a quarterfinal game against Purdue on Sunday. Unfortunately for Badger fans, all is not well on the soccer fields. Men's soccer tied Northwestern last night 0-0 in an uneventful game. The Wildcats did not get a single shot on goal during the game, and while the Badgers put 2 shots on goal, the game was called around the 74th minute due to snowy conditions. That means the Badgers are just 2-10-4 on the season. The team hasn't won against a Big Ten team yet, though they will have an opportunity to end their drought when they play Ohio State in Columbus this Saturday. After winning the national championship last season and going undefeated in this one, all eyes are on the women's hockey team at UW-Madison. But what is the key to the team's success? The Badger Report's Vera Rosenbeck went to find out.
This weekend, the women's hockey team played 2 games against Bemidji State on LeBaron Arena. The team seems to be untouchable right now and have not lost a single game this season. According to the players themselves, they owe their success to one specific thing.
Like, our team is able to make fun out of anything, and like we get along so well off the ice, and I think that's what really helps us on the ice. We don't really have any drama or anything, and I think that's why we're so good. Like, we have no problems off the ice, so there's really no problems on the ice, and like you can see it in the chemistry on the ice. It's awesome.
Our team chemistry is really good. We all like to be at the rink. We all like to be here having fun, playing hockey. The games are fun. Like, we love being here, and I think that's a big part of why we win.
The team knew Bemidji State was going to give them a run for their money, but they were determined to continue their winning streak.
They always just kind of pack it in, and that's their style. Like, they don't want us to score, and they don't let us score, so it's always a challenge, but it's really fun.
And they're going to come trying to play us as hard as they can. Everybody wants to take down #1.
And they delivered. They dominated the game with a final score of 4-1 for both of the matches. They strengthened their winning streak to 10-0-0 on the season. The question now is if the team can keep this pace going all the way to the national championship next March.
For the Badger Report, I'm Vera Rosenbeck.
This weekend, the team will play 2 games against Minnesota in Minneapolis. The first starts just after 2 p.m. on Saturday. Men's hockey is also seeing a strong start to their season. After a 4-3 victory over the Clarkson Golden Knights on Saturday puts their record to 4-2. Wisconsin gained a 3-0 lead in the second period, but the Golden Knights tied the game with just over a minute left in the third period. Luckily, the Badgers' freshman Owen Lindmark scored the winning goal with just 7 seconds left. The 7th-ranked Badgers play their first Big Ten matchup tonight at Penn State at 6 p.m. Successful sports programs are in no short supply in Madison, as the Badgers volleyball team proved last night in their win over Maryland. The Badgers won in 3 straight sets, led by junior standout Dana Redke, who put up 17 kills after recently returning from a foot injury. The win extends the team's current win streak to 11 games and improves their record to 15-4. The American Volleyball Coaches Association poll ranks the Badgers at 4th in the nation, and the team remains undefeated in the Big Ten. They'll aim to maintain their Big Ten dominance when they face Indiana on Sunday.
Thank you, Will.
After the break, we'll see how dogs are helping college students relax and let you know when you can pet dogs on campus.
Progress is an endless challenge. Here at the University of Wisconsin, we're a community of innovators in constant motion. We think on our feet, connect with each other, and hit our stride, pushing past limits. Progress is an endless challenge, but it is only those up to the challenge who change the game.
This right here is the closet we were in. That was the only thing left of the house. The only thing. Red Cross helped us, and they literally got us back on our feet. Huge outpouring of love, just going, people care.
We didn't come out of there saying, wow, we lost everything. We came out of there hugging each other, glad that we were okay.
Students are often stressed during midterms. While many binge TV shows or go out with friends to relieve stress, one group is offering students the opportunity to relax in a different way with Man's Best Friend.
Hello. I was like racking my brain for a long time.
For over 20 years, Dogs on Call has been helping people by, you guessed it, letting them pet dogs, specifically trained therapy dogs who visit hospice patients, kids learning to read, and college students. These dogs are visiting students studying at Babcock Memorial Library. Todd Trampy and his dog Izzy told us that these pups get rave reviews.
Well, as you probably have seen from the smiles, they don't always say anything, but the smiles oftentimes say it all.
Made 66 visits to campus last year and are making more this year. To see schedules for their upcoming visits, go to dogsoncall.org.
And if you're looking to go out for some Halloween fun, there are plenty of options. You can trick or treat at Hilldale Mall, bring your dog to State Line Distillery for a contest, see a movie at Union South, and more. Be safe and, most importantly, have fun. That's all for this week on the Badger Report. Do you have any Halloween plans, Laura?
I think I might go get these eyebrows plucked. What do you think?
Maybe your nose, too. Just throw that in.
That's a good idea.
All right, awesome, guys. Well, have a happy Halloween, everyone. And that is it for this Badger Report. We'll see you next week.